This is the Topcon OCT Atlantis. It's also called the DRI OCT1. It's the brand new swept source instrument from Topcon. Basically is the future of OCT technology, because the key thing here is we're using a longer wavelength of light. Your standard Fourier domain OCT is a wavelength of 820. This has 1050 wavelength on it. The key thing about that, with it being a longer wavelength, we can penetrate much deeper into the retina, and more importantly, we can actually go right through blood and scleral tissue with this wavelength of light. The other thing about it is much faster. So we're talking 100,000 A scans per second, as opposed to the fastest Fourier domain out there at the moment is probably around 70,000 A scans per second. So what that basically means is a 6x6 macular cube takes around about 1.5 seconds to do on each eye. I'm going to do a high resolution 12mm long line. This is another thing that's unique to the Atlantis, is 12mm long horizontal scan lines. We can't actually do that with Fourier domain at the moment, and the benefit of being able to scan such a long line, we can get a scan with the optic nerve and the macula involved, and anteriorly we can also do a scan which involves both anterior chambers and the whole of the cornea all in one scan. That's it. Okay, we've done an OCT of your right eye now. So you see how much faster it is? What the software will now do, it will average out that image. It will try and do it up to 96 times. Because we have that long wavelength of light, you can see how deep the OCT signal goes right through. And all these here, these are blood vessels, these are arterial vessels coming out of the optic nerve. The signal is still clear beyond the blood. Another benefit of having such a strong signal with the choroid is that we can very accurately measure it with this software. With the benefit of being able to have a lot more structure in the OCT signal, you'll just be able to get a lot more information on any sort of pathology on the retina. Things like fluid, you'll be able to see in far more detail if there actually is fluid, where previously you might miss that a little bit with Fourier. It's just giving you an incredibly accurate view of the retina. But in terms of measuring things like choroidal thickness, of course there are lots of diseases which are affected by choroidal thickness. It's almost like it's escaped out the back of the factory door, this instrument, and people are already using it. It's that far in the future, you know, and it's very exciting because ophthalmology are just jumping all over it, and everywhere we go now, swept source is the key word, and you'll see in the next 2 or 3 years there won't be many places that aren't, if not using swept source, going down the road of definitely looking at getting it into their units or companies. Yeah, it's exciting, it's good stuff.